Hi everybody, it's Marcus Gonzo of the MA Properties Online team for another episode of Martini Monday. So, cheers. This week we're highlighting the Manhattan. That's your long history of the Manhattan, if legend is to be believed anyway. This was invented in the Manhattan Club in New York for Winston Churchill's mother. So goes back till the turn of the last century. Whiskey and vermouth based drink. Beautiful, I have to say. One of my favorites. I prefer a bourbon in there instead of a rye-based whiskey. Just gives it that little bit of sweetness, which I really like. It contrasts the vermouth really, really well. So that's this week's drink, the Manhattan. I'll put the recipe as ever underneath this video. So real estate this week. So clearly the spring market is in full swing. We've had homes coming on the market for the last 3 weeks, and we have homes coming on all the way through March and now into April. So clearly the buyers are out, the weather hopefully is turning very much for the better, and so off we go with a buoyant spring market. So that's really good. A couple of things I wanted to highlight this week in terms of what we're going to be doing in 2019, building on what we did in 2018, but kind of focusing a little bit more on it in 2019. First thing is we're going to do a lot more rendering. Now we're beginning to see renders for new construction, specifically for the outside, as an alternative to the usual somewhat inaccurate watercolors. We're doing that already, but what we're now beginning to do is bring that for the inside shots as well. So perhaps there's an unfinished third floor. Here's an example in a new construction we brought on the market last year. It was unfinished. We took the 3 rooms, or the empty space, and made it into 3 rooms: sitting room, bedroom, and bathroom, really giving the buyer a view of what that might look like. We also did the same for a room in a much smaller home that had been plumbed for a bathroom but hadn't had the bathroom completed. So we essentially virtually created that bathroom just to give people an idea of what it might look like. So 3D renderings, both for the outside of new construction, but now increasingly for the inside, both of new construction and existing homes, where they've got some space that could be really useful, could be done, but a potential buyer could do something with, and we're going to kind of lead them by the hand to see how they can get that. So that's the first thing that we're going to be rolling out in 2019. The other one we're going to be looking at is drones. They've been around for a while, and I've been looking at this technology for quite a while. I think it's being overused. You see a lot of drone photographs and video from a vantage point which is way, way too high. I think you need to be much closer to the property, and it really comes into its own where you've got a large property, perhaps on a large piece of land. We did that last year. We experimented on one property that we actually have on the market this year. We did it last summer. When the weather was nice, we brought it on the market just in early spring. It's a large estate in Carlisle, and as you can see from this video, it really does give a really interesting vantage point, a different vantage point, allowing you to highlight the home as well as the pool and the grounds that surround it. So I think this has a lot of merit, specifically for some homes. So over the winter, we went out and bought a drone, have to say, and I got my license, so we're all legal. We're going to be rolling this one out over the next couple of months for those properties that we feel really need it. So that's drone footage that we're going to be rolling out. So renders in 2019, as well as increased use of drone footage, really complementing the existing large marketing package that we have today. So wanted to kind of highlight those, give you a sense of what we're going to be doing new in 2019. And so with that, I'm going to say goodbye and good night, and go and enjoy my Manhattan. So until next week, bye.